Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin up 2.94% to 49,206. Ethereum 3386 up 0.24%. My goal is to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, and also gain real wealth in the process. Over the 35 years I've been involved in financial markets, I've literally created thousands of rules. Rule 774, master yourself to master the market. This is a really important rule. As a community, we're all about real wealth. Real wealth is much more than just money. It's about integrity, kindness, authenticity and decency, inner and outer peace, fulfillment and meaning, purpose and fearlessness. All the things that go into making a really beautiful life, as well as money. I really love sharing this quote. You are worthy and unique. You deserve kindness, love, meaning, and every success in life. That is how I feel about you. I'd like to share Rule 319 with you. Intangibles create tangibles. Now I know what you're saying. Ken, what has intangibles got to do with trading, investing? A lot, actually. It's really interesting that when we are young, we get hit by psychological dirt. This little fella has been absolutely buried in it. Intangible clothing is the term that I give to our psychological DNA. It's all the things that we learned when we were young. And of course, it's not just when we were young. As we grow up, there's no there's no end. It's really literally endless, the things that confront us and challenge us. Psychological dirt impacts every facet of the fabric of your life through your attitude. Perhaps let's do a bit of fun. Think about the most bitter person that you've ever met. That could be someone that you work with, someone that you met socially. It could be a lot of different things. It could be a family member. Now think about the psychological dirt that may be impacting that person. Psychological dirt is a dirt that we know nothing about. Everybody gets hit by that dirt. It's really important to be understanding and aware of that. Things like aggression, bitterness, a focus on taking and not giving, fear, feelings of unworthiness, hurting others, rejection, unfairness, unkindness, lack of respect, conflict, negativity. These are all signposts to negative psychological dirt. Psychological dirt can also actually be passed on intergenerationally. Coming back to that person, you can imagine that they suffered psychological dirt when they were younger and they've carried it through, never looking realistically internally. That's very hard to do. They wake up and put on all the clothes of bitterness, and then when they get tired, they go to sleep, and they can pass that bitterness on to their children. And of course, it's not just the intergenerational nature of this psychological dirt. It impacts everybody. Nobody escapes from it. But the real thing is, what do we do about it? And what does it really mean? And of course, how does it relate to crypto? From a personal perspective, making others suffer makes you suffer. Awareness and ownership is required to clean psychological dirt. Looking at chaos zone analysis, the 4 stages that all investors and traders progress through to become consistently profitable and attain real wealth, no matter what kind of investor you are. You could be a short, medium-term or long-term investor. You could be a trader. You could be a speculator. Doesn't matter. Everybody comes fully optioned out with psychological dirt. It's really hard to get rid of psychological dirt. It's a big problem in the markets and when it comes to investing. For example, when people first start off, and this is natural, and it's important to understand chaos zone analysis, all investors and traders progress through this. When people are new to a market or new to anything, literally, they can go through a degree of internal panic. With crypto, it's a large piece of panic that people go through because people want certainty. Instead, they encounter terror because of the volatility of crypto. It takes courage to move into zone 2, where you take action and pull the trigger. The blame zone is all about external panic. It's about conflicting with others. Psychological dirt can keep us trapped in zone 1 and zone 2. Zone 3 is about probabilistic fearlessness. In zone 3, people understand that it's all about probability and not certainty. Everything can range from 0 to 100% in terms of what things can do. It's all about knowledge and forgiveness. Not forgiveness of other people, forgiveness of yourself. A very important component of this particular zone is accountability and learning. Accountability and learning are absolutely required to get rid of psychological dirt. The beautiful thing about investment trading is that you confront yourself. You confront all the dark recesses of your being and you shine light on them. And that, of course, is very uncomfortable, but you have the chance to clean it up. It's just awesome. The less psychological dirt you have, the more meaning that you will experience in life, the more inner and outer peace, the more authentic you will be, the higher your gratitude and feelings of self-worth will be. It's a really beautiful place to aim at or stay at. So we can see awareness and ownership is required to clean off that psychological dirt, because success has a strict psychological dress code. Let's go back to that person that you thought about previously, that really difficult to get along with person, who you could say has a lot of psychological dirt and potentially not much awareness as well. When it comes to intangible clothing, a good attitude opens the door to success. Having a willingness to learn, a willingness for ownership, a willingness to change, integrity, kindness, and empathy, being good to others, being easy to get along with, having humility and gratefulness, being independent, being able to make up your own mind on things, having strength of mind and strength of purpose, having strong boundaries, engaging in intelligent defense and fighting when required is all part of the clothing of success. Returning to this particular rule, Rule 319, intangibles, how we feel, how we think, how we act, creates our outcomes in life. It's especially true in trading and investing. If you approach things from a foundation of worth and belief in positive outcomes, and then manage your risk, manage your probabilities, you're on the right path. Let's have a look at the Bitcoin and Ethereum market capitalizations. We can see we're currently under this key resistance line. We're about 7.48% away from it. We can see that this line of support was breached, acted as resistance, but price got over it. We're now coming up to a level of resistance. We'll have to keep our eye on things. I'd like to thank Benny very much for drawing my attention to the debt ceiling issue in the US. This is far from over. Basically, if we look into the Wall Street Journal, we need by October the 18th to pass the bill that allows the debt ceiling to be raised. Benny also shared this video from the White House, and I'll make sure that this link is provided in the description of this video. Basically, President Biden is saying the debt ceiling needs to be raised because there are existing obligations that need to be met. There's nothing to do with new obligations, but there's a lot of political fighting which could bring the US into default. Right now, the markets are not paying much attention to this, especially the crypto markets. We've seen a little bit of weakness in the NASDAQ. Let me just show you that. This is the NASDAQ's price movement. We had a sell-off in the NASDAQ and a repair, and now a little bit of down leg. You can see by looking at this There is an association between the NASDAQ and Bitcoin from a directional basis. Directional correlation can be very difficult to understand, but it's important to understand all markets are interconnected. In around 2 weeks, I think we're going to see some potential fireworks. There's a lot of volatility in the market. Now, when I mean fireworks, if the debt ceiling is not raised, if the US government does run out of money, that's not good at all. And President Biden outlined some of the things that would actually mean for the US economy. You can see those in that link I'll provide in the description. Also, we have the Evergrande debt default situation coming up as well. We'll know more about that in approximately 20 days. The most important thing is to just simply have a strategy about what you will do if crypto goes up, passes this resistance line, and goes forward, or it fails. That strategy will be basically dependent on how you define yourself. Do you see yourself as an investor or trader, speculator or gambler? These are really, really important questions. Some people may be 100% investor, long-term investor, 100%, so 0% here. Some people may spread their portfolio to very high risk, maybe 5%, 10% in speculation, and the remainder as they wish. Doing gambling is really never advised. Well, it is not ever advised. The problem with gambling is not about winning, it's about a hit. Gamblers, when they gamble, want to beat the system, they want to win, and the system just gives them enough encouragement to keep on going until the risk consequence becomes outstandingly large. Gambling is never a good way to go. I know some people think it's okay. I don't want to pass value judgments, but I always remember a story about the gambler. The gambler won all the races at the horse race, but lost the last. What's the point? So your strategy will really depend on how you see yourself. If you're a long-term investor, that would just be an opportunity to hold, and that is very fair. If you're trading, and depending on what kind of trader you are, a swing trader, a momentum trader, a support and resistance trader, a moving average trader, my goodness, there's so many. You may seek to exit when you see a violation of support lines. For example, speculation is different, of course. The most important thing is to just have a philosophy and understanding of what you will do. Now, what could it look like, both the positive and the negative? For example, current price action, if we get above this major resistance line, start to take off up here, what could that look like for the crypto market? Well, we could just go back to the 2016 bull run and see when we get above resistance, we usually have a retracement and then a rally, retracement, rally, retracement, and we know that price is always moving in a wave. Many people would think that they've missed out. I've seen people complain of missing out on a 5% move. A 5% move can happen within half an hour. It's really important to understand the incredible volatility of this market. You literally never really miss out. You can just layer in at any time. We can see that there will be big increases, but also bear in mind that 20, 30, 40% or even more retracements will occur on the way to the top. Now, what happens if that doesn't occur? Maybe it comes up a little bit and fails and breaks down here. What could happen then if we have a full-on black swan? Now, the important thing is don't panic. For example, Zone 1 and Zone 2 thinking is like a light switch. People are all in or all out. Zone 3 and Zone 4, the professional zones, are all about scaling in and scaling out and using probabilities to guide them, not strict beliefs. It must go up. I've seen somebody talk about it. It must hit this number. I've used this particular tool. It must be this number. No such thing exists in markets. Markets are inherently unstable and uncertain, especially crypto. If things actually reject, we'll be seeing if we have a support line that holds. Maybe it comes back up again, rallies and goes forward. That is possible. This is actually going back to the March 2020 crash. I'm not suggesting a crash will happen. You need to have awareness of the positive and negative side. Too many influencers and channels and media outlets all are doom and gloom, or all are bullish, going to the moon. I don't like either. I think the middle path is the best path. I'm just giving you what I would have loved to have seen when I was first starting off, which is just a realistic middle path perspective. If we get a violation of this support, that means the price moves under it. We could assume that that trend down will continue until price can repair itself. If it can't, it gets negative air, it could continue down again. If it can't, we just watch particular lines. We're just ready for anything. The most important thing for you is to think in terms of positive and negative movements. But please do not panic. We need to see what happens. You just need a strategy, and that strategy to trigger and you to follow through on what you decide. Only you can decide, because only you know what you're doing with the money, your own risk tolerance, your investment or trading horizon. Only you know. Looking at Tether, we don't see any issues with it at the moment. We're also seeing low liquidations in the market. That means price could potentially be manipulated. We've seen over the past 24 hours 227.54 million in liquidation across 75,872 traders. In the last 12 hours, about 52% of liquidations were short. That pushes the price up. Short liquidations require buying, but we can see it's really tiny. We've got ever decreasing amounts of liquidations coming through. This doesn't really confirm a trend change. We're looking for large volumes in liquidations. That usually signs it. Rule 109, enhance pattern recognition. This is a very vitally important skill to have. Something also to bear in mind, Rule 45, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. I had a question in the comments section of YouTube, and it was basically, well, Ken, if everything just follows Bitcoin, well, why do we even look at alts? That's a really fair question. All questions are fair. For many years, I was a lecturer in first and second year stats. I don't think there are any silly questions. They're all good and they're all worthy to be asked. The reason that we follow Bitcoin is it gives us a directional bias. By understanding Bitcoin, we can understand where things are headed. Now, not everything, of course, moves with Bitcoin, and not all the alts just move at the same percentage as Bitcoin. That's why alts are attractive. Bitcoin is very low risk, if such a thing can be said in crypto, and the alts are very high risk. The higher the risk, the higher the return. That's just a foundation of financial management. We can see Axie Infinity, AXS, going bananas up here, doing so well. We can see Luna and Tezos starting to slant down. We can see that Bitcoin is going a little bit flatter. They all follow directional bias. It has a thing called directional correlation. Let's have a look at the top 8. Bitcoin is currently 4.12% away from testing its resistance. This is quite major resistance up here. If it gets above there, things are looking positive. If we look at Ethereum, Ethereum is 15.81% away from testing its major resistance, structural resistance. Cardano is currently under resistance. We look at BNB. BNB is doing quite well. It's a very, very strong performer. Looking at XRP, XRP is consolidating around its support line. That is quite good behavior, their technical behavior. Doge has come up quite substantially, probably on the back of SHIB. SHIB has just been going bananas. We can see that Doge is about 17.85% away from getting over that resistance, or at least testing it. We can see Sol has been doing quite well, but it's just retracing to a level of support. DOT is above resistance and consolidating right now. This is all about pattern recognition. I'm just going to show you the patterns and let you just try to make your own views on where these top cryptos are headed. We can have a look at AVAX. It's broken below a support line. When you break below support, that generally is not a good sign. Having a look at Luna. Luna got above resistance, forged out, came back and retested and resumed off. It's doing very well. We can see the power of Luna versus the weakness in AVAX. We can see also Uni is consolidating around its support line. It hasn't crossed over or crossed underneath it. It's still above. Chainlink is still above this resistance line, but it's lost one of its strongest support lines here and is starting to consolidate below the second support line. It could even go down to the third. Crypto is volatile. It's always moving all over the place. ALGO is doing really well. You can consider this pattern recognition and you can then apply it to marking up your own charts. ALGO is looking really good. It's maintaining this upward structure very well, perhaps more strongly than a lot of the other ones, for example Uni or AVAX. Okay, now let's have a look at MATIC. MATIC is just consolidating around its support line. This was a really strong push up. Having a look at Litecoin. Litecoin is very nicely consolidating around that upward support. Cosmos, Atom, is not quite sure if it's going up or down. It's caught in a bit of a no-fly zone. We need to see what happens. Does it break up or does it break down? Let's have a look at some community favorites. The important thing to note here, I don't endorse or suggest you buy anything in here or anywhere at any time. You just need to make up your own mind on what you think is good and what you believe in. Believing in things is very important. Let's have a look at THETA. THETA is above this once resistance, now turned to support line. What about REN? REN is looking quite strong. It's bounced from this very tight support line and it's doing rather well. What about DENT? DENT is doing quite well as well. It got above resistance. It hit a level where it started to take off and is just consolidating. Looking at different particular alts and different cryptos can give you an understanding of how things may play out on your beloved alts. Looking at HBAR, what has HBAR done? I've deliberately not put lines here. If you draw a line of resistance down, for example like this, you can see it passed around this area. If you draw a line up with your eye under here, you can see it's just seeking to consolidate around that upward support. That's a really, really good way just to train your eye. When we have a look at Quant, what are we seeing? Quant overcame resistance, but there was some weakness in Bitcoin and it played throughout all the alts. We see it's now under that resistance. It has support down here. Let's look at Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity is literally an animal. It can move up and down by staggering percentages. It's not for the faint of heart by any stretch of the imagination, but it's quite a good project as well. Now we see there's a level of support and then a level of takeoff, another level of takeoff. When it comes to trade quality or getting into something, you just got to think, do you want to get in up the top here or down the bottom? or midway. These are all really, really important things to understand. Let's have a look at Icon. I'm not saying that's the top for Axie, by the way. I'm just saying that there's a difference between something just starting and something that's been going for a while, because people may want to take profit. Let's have a look at Icon. If I draw a line up here, we can see there's a lot of positive air there. Price hasn't come back to test this support line. It's saying, nah, I'm strong. I don't want to go back. I want to go forward. And it's doing really well. A lot of people will be very happy. Icon is a community favorite. LRC loop ring. We can see overcoming of resistance here. We can see an upward support line from that bottom area. You just draw it from the bottom and extend it. You don't try to make price fit. You try and just let the lines speak to you as they are. This is another reason that we don't chase price. Price is negatively biased, so we just basically place orders in here if you wish, if that's your strategy for entering this particular coin, this particular crypto. Let's quickly look through the main markets. What we can see is the volatility index, the fear gauge of the stock market, rallied up, came down, and has rallied up again. This means that people are getting fearful. Now, why are they getting fearful? Because if we look at this particular chart, the NASDAQ 100, we can see the price coming down at the present time. When we look at Bitcoin, because that's really what we're about, we can see that Bitcoin has been coming down and has now been retracing. There's a few different things, a few different headwinds in there, but this price action is looking quite good. Then we have a look at the US dollar currency index. As the stock market came down, just keep your eye here on the US dollar. The stock market came down. What did the dollar do? It went up. We're not saying this is one is causing the other. We're just saying they are associated. For example, with the bond prices, what happened with bonds? Bonds, just focusing on the NASDAQ, bonds went up to this point and then started to drop in price and come up again. But overall bond prices are coming down. Bond yields are inversely correlated, so they're coming up. Gold, what is happening with gold? It is, well, was coming down, but you can see a level of resistance has been passed. When you understand pattern recognition really well, you can just look at this chart and say, wow, that's good, that's cross resistance, that could be a very interesting buy. And you can look for different support levels. Around the 1754 mark is good, and the 1755. The thing to understand with conventional markets, non-crypto markets, the movement in price is very little compared to what crypto does. So light crude oil has been going up. We're not suggesting that the movement in light crude oil is in any way reflected back to volatility or the US dollar or the stock market, because these things always phase in and phase out of correlation. But we do have to actually notice when there is an association, especially a directional one. If we have a look at casebitcoin.com, we can see the percentage moves in Bitcoin over time are very, very substantial. Let's just reload that page to make sure that we've got the absolute latest data. We can see the S&P 500 is up 27% for the past year. Gold is down 8%. Bitcoin up 358%. When there's fear in the stock market, which is about $100 trillion worth of value globally, money tends to flow from stock markets and crypto into bonds as a safe haven. When the other side of the equation occurs, and you can see bonds is quite a large market, we can get, when people are feeling optimistic about stocks and crypto, of course, money can flow from bonds into stocks, and we know many stocks are actually funding crypto. through ETFs and various associated crypto businesses. Many people think that the crypto market can't rival the market cap of gold, which is around 10 trillion. Can you imagine if 10% of the bond market and 10% of the stock market found its way into crypto? Wow. Many people, when they look at these incredible percentages, and they are incredible percentages, they say, wow, Bitcoin and crypto only goes up. Not true. Bitcoin and crypto can go down very hard as well. When we look at the stock market, a correction is a decline of 10% or more from a recent peak. That happens very infrequently in the stock market. Bear markets are often triggered by a 20% decline from near-term highs in the stock market. Now, what's the correlation over here? You can see these things happen. Corrections and bear market triggers happen all the time in crypto. In crypto, a 10% drawdown is typical any day of the week, 20% every other week. If you're not aware of this, if people just suck you in through a concept, oh, you're going to make so much money, you'll buy a Lamborghini next week and you'll never have to work a day in your life, they're actually touting a false narrative that is absolutely not true. Crypto is one of the hardest markets in the world to actually trade and invest in. You have to have nerves of steel. That's why I always go through that real wealth analysis. Rule 170, crypto is volatile. I say this at the end of every episode. You have to expect the best and plan for the worst. Crypto is really, really unpredictable. If you have a strategy of what you will do, that is really different. That can alleviate a lot of stress. If you're feeling like going all in or going all out, that's generally what we refer to as zone 1 and zone 2 behavior. If you're thinking of scaling in and scaling out, that's about zone 3 and zone 4 behavior. I'd like to thank the very kind and generous community members that reached out and bought me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/cryptotradingks. Thanks so much, everyone. I'd like to thank Greg, Hyperbox, Ionut, Leela, Michael, Jano, Oliver, TSP, Nashvin. TSP raised a really interesting question. How do you trade on a shoestring budget? I would suggest that you can do paper trading. Just keep your trades very, very low. Just seek to learn as much as you can. Thank you so much, Oliver and Nashvin, for your kind comments, and of course everyone else too. I believe in keeping things that are confidential, so some of these people actually have their names there, but I don't read that out if they want to comment privately. So I always log out of the site before I show you this, just to let you know. Vicente, thank you so much. Very, very lovely comment, which is trying to make a more human aspect in times where materialization is king. Absolutely agree. That's what we all need to do. My heart goes out to Tales of the Man Cave. I'm so sorry about your loss of your dad when you were young. It's really nice of you to share that. Thank you, my friend. And thank you to OBJ. It's really beautiful that people are striving to be the best versions of themselves and attain real wealth. I can't think of anything more inspiring. Thank you, Badger, and of course, thank you someone for your very beautiful quote, and thank you, John. I'd like to also thank Dan and everybody. It's very, very beautiful of you. If you go to buymeacoffee.com/cryptotradingks, I've posted out the latest video in this post tab, and I'll also be separately posting the previous 2 videos out for you in this post tab. If you haven't been notified, you can just go straight to the site. I'd like to leave you with a quote on how I feel about you and everybody in our community of incredibly beautiful people. You are worthy and unique. You deserve kindness, love, meaning, and every success in life. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others. Thank you to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers. Please say hi and let me know where you're viewing from and if you have any questions. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video. I'm just doing one video today because I'm pretty snowed under with other work. Just wanted to let you know. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, take care, and see you next time. Bye for now.